Welcome back, baseball fans, for another elimination video. Today we're eliminating the New York Mets. What you're looking at is last year's stats. I wanted to do this first. They went to the wild card round, lost to Atlanta, finished 24-21. Just want to bring up some of the more notable players. Offensively, let's start there. John Milner just caught fire. 337, 13 homers, 26 RBI. Lee Lacy was brought in from the Dodgers at 317. You'll hear from him again. Rusty Staub does Rusty Staub kind of stuff. And everywhere else looks pretty much like the Mets. I want to show you Tony Soleta struggling. 172 at-bats. He did not hit a home run. So that was a bust a year ago for the offense at 258. Now the pitching. Of the starters, Matlack a little bit better than Seaver. 6-4, 338 ERA. Seaver, 345 ERA, was 9-5 with 7 complete games. Kuzman struggled, 4-6 with a 4.72 ERA. And McGraw got the 10 saves, but his card starts to fade a little bit in New York. And he'll be traded in the offseason to the Phillies to rejuvenate his career. So with that, now let's take a look at what just happened. They're 27-20 in the divisional round defeat to the Dodgers. Batting average about the same, 261. They lowered their ERA by about a half a run. Net runs, 231, 179. Outstanding, really. Statistically, the Mets are usually a team that somehow wins more with not the greatest stats, but here they got some stats to back it up. Let's start with the offense again. And Lee Lacy, boy, what a great free agent that is. 356 average. They put him in the cleanup spot and said just leave him there. 32 RBIs. Harmon, part of the McGraw trade, did great, hitting 324 as an everyday player with a Strat card at 290. Harrelson overachieved. And look at Tony Soleta. A bust a year ago. He figured it out this year with 13 homers and 44 RBIs at 249, 321. But Rusty Staub struggled. Wayne Garrett struggled as well. But at least Wayne Garrett had a nice on-base percentage. As did Clyde Mayshore with a bad batting average. Look at the walks this team gets. 261 batting average, 347 on base for your New York Mets. And look at John Milner. It's almost like the fortunes of Tony Soleta and John Milner flipped. Milner, 337, 13 dingers a year ago. All fell apart this year. A 164 average. Pitching, Tom Seaver went to the All-Star game, 11-3. Had the 12 complete games. Just a great year for Tom. And 213 ERA. That pretty much matches his Strat card. Kuzman pitched better, but didn't get more wins for it. Matlack, actually a 500 record. For the first time, he didn't have a winning record in some time. And the free agent, Dennis Blair, did a decent job. I'll caution that the ERA looks inflated, 392. It all happened in one awful start. He gave up 9 runs in 3 innings in one lousy start. The rest of the time, he was pretty darn good. So that backed up that signing. The starting pitching was fantastic, and the whole bullpen was lousy. Strat-O-Matic had 7 saves, 3 losses, and a heartbreaking loss at the end. And then Parker, Scarce, and Carruthers just did not do it. And that's obviously an area the Mets need to address in the offseason. Now, let's take a look at your Mets. Let's find out the players from 1973 that they're going to have to figure out who they want to keep, waive, and retire. Looks like it's a 4-4 split here. And there's going to be, oh boy. Some big names here. It looks pretty good. Looks like they can bring the big names back. And the guys are losing. This looks like it might work out pretty well. They're going to have 8 hitters here that they're keeping. So they're going to bring back Blackwell and Grody are the catchers. So you got a switch hitter and a righty. Grody with the arms. So Grody's going to play most of the time. If you get a really difficult righty, you want to bring a lefty bat in, you'll use Blackwell. They'll run this back probably. Here's the great Saleda free agent card they brought in from 75. And Kansas City's first baseman, 75, John Mayberry's card was even better, so they couldn't keep them both. And the Mets went out and got this guy. And here's another guy they went out and got. Terry Harmon. They got him from the Phillies in the McGraw trade. So you could play him anywhere for the Mets. Obviously not shortstop. But he's a .295 hitter, and he's going to play every day. There's no reason to get him out of the lineup. Junior Kennedy, just a on-base machine kind of player. No defense. It's a buck 50. Yeah. But you love all the walks. So he becomes a nice little reserve player against a righty who gets lefties out maybe. And Wayne Garrett, a great card. Bring this card back. I like the card. Didn't play very well with it. Maybe you get a bounce back card out of Garrett. He had a bad year. Not this guy though, Lee Lacy. If this guy can keep rolling out these years for the Mets, shoot, he might not go to the Pirates. They might just hold on to him. It's only 1975 as a Dodger. Of course, the Dodgers, they don't seem to be needing him, which is why it's kind of cool that the Mets went out and got him instead of an expansion team. Rusty Staub, we know in 76 he's a Tiger, but he's still a Met in 75, so they're going to run him back for the next 2 years. Now the pitching. We got the Matlack 74 card. Talk about hard luck. He has a really nice card here. As a starter, 8. Again, not a nice winning percentage, and that seems to be the theme here between him and Koosman. And here's the free agent, Dennis Blair, that they brought in as a starter, 7. Dodgers rolled 5-5 a couple times in that series. Missed it both times. That's really good for a starter 7 versus righties. With just the walks over there, that's a nice looking card. 11-7, 327 for the Expos. Another free agent. Mets did not have to go outside the organization for a pitcher. They could have used Randy Tate or Hank Webb or Craig Swan. But they went out and got this guy because he's just darn good. Mets used to have a reliever named Danny Frisella, who was a righty who could get lefties out. They lost him, so they found this guy. Again, the righty who gets lefties out. It didn't work out for him. He was often left in games as a long reliever, and the righties knocked him around, and that's why he had a bad year. He did have, last time we saw Don Carruthers, he was great in the Dodger series. He pitched 2 1/3 scoreless innings of relief against a Dodger team that had a lot of good lefties like Buckner and Crawford and Willie Davis. And here is Apotica. And before you start complaining about him, remember, Steve Garvey got that homer on his own card. So any pitcher, any right-handed pitcher at least, actually a lefty as well, Garvey would have hit the home run. You know, any pitcher pitching in the bottom of the 9th would wear the goat horns, and that's not really fair, but Apotica otherwise was not that great. But we think his card is good. Really good against righties. He's got a 2.80 ERA. I think he's got a card with like a 1.50 ERA or a sub-2 ERA. They might want to see if they can get into that if possible, if it's better. Just to get the bad taste out of his mouth. So that's your Mets. And with that, now we're going to take a look at the stats of the 8 guys from 73. Who do the Mets keep, waive, and retire? All right, we're going to begin with Don Hahn. He was a defensive replacement in center field versus left-handed pitching. We used a 73 card with the Mets. Good defense. The batting average isn't there. 74, he gets more playing time with the Mets. If he's got good defense, they could bring him back. 75, 76, not much going on here with him. He is a Met. It's going to come down to the defense. If he's a 2 in center field, I might bring him back, but He's nothing special. He's just a guy, as we like to say. Even though his average is a little bit better versus righties. We'll be optimistic. Let's, for the moment, bring him back as a keeper, knowing that he'd be the first guy we move on the waivers because he's got a card in 74. Next up, Bud Harrelson. And, you know, he's coming back, and it's just going to be, can we find another one? Can he be a one shortstop one more time? Here we are in 73. No Gold Glove. Had MVP votes. So 74, 5, and 6. Oh, excuse me, 74 through 77, I should say. These are all up there. The WAR is the same in 4 and 6. Yeah, you're bringing them back. The average is down in all these years. Hoping that the WAR means that he's good defensively and helps him out versus the bad offense here. They're going to bring up Bud Harrelson back. That's at least during this part of his career. Next up is Clyde Mayshore. Fun little card. And you know what? We only used it once. He was a undrafted free agent for at least 3 other years and was unclaimed. But in the final year of eligibility, Mets picked it up. Did very well. Prior to 73, he scuffled along. Really, 73 wasn't special either. But it's the on-base percentage, almost 100 points better than the batting average. Opportunistic split as well. Reasonable defense. His career is over, as he doesn't play beyond 1973. So we're going to put him on the retired list. Clyde Mayshore. All right, John Milner. Interesting career for him. He'll eventually end up on the Pirates. It's interesting, they have John Milner and Lee Lacy both end up on the Pirates. He goes there in 78. Until then, though, a good 76. Really nice 76. 77. Not too bad. These cards are available. They're taking them. So, right away, I know that Milner most likely would kick Don Hahn off the keeper list as a higher priority. As we move into the pitchers. Beginning with Tom Seaver. We're just going to go right there and put the keeper on Seaver. But let's go take a look at Tom's stats now. Where are we? Now that the 1977 year is in play, I kind of want to mention this now. So in the Fall League, when we got to this timeline, because the Fall League plays 8 years in the future, I wanted to do something creative in moving him from the Mets to the Reds. You know, an extremely historical trait of the 1970s. You've got Joe Morgan going from Houston to Cincinnati was the most impactful deal in the 1970s. And then I'm going to put Seaver leaving the Mets for the Reds as the next one. So what I did was, instead of matching the trade, because the teams don't know what's going to happen, we have history telling us what happens. I did a little differently. I ended up having the Reds send Pete Rose. Rose, Hall of Fame with an asterisk for Hall of Famer Tom Seaver. And there were some other people involved in the trade, but basically it was a straight up move. So the Mets ended up with the 77 Rose and the 78 Rose. When those cards expired, they then traded him to Philadelphia for Pete's 79 season. So it's already played out in the Fall League many years ago, but that's what we did. And again, we're not even anywhere close to that now. We're right up here. So the Cy Young card we just played absolutely played up to it. And look, he had 18 complete games and 290 innings. I got him 12. I got him 12 complete games and about 140 innings. So I really wore down old Tom. That's all right. 10-6 WAR. Are you kidding me? 10-2, 10-6. This is what I meant. I've had both these cards in the league. My eyeballs said I like 71 better, but when you play the game, 73 Seaver played better than 71 Seaver. That's just the way the dice roll, I guess you could say. And in just my particular sample. You know, your particular sample could play differently, of course. 74's got a 320 ERA. 75 would probably be the card they take. With a 7-8 WAR. Doesn't really matter ultimately that much. It's Tom Seaver. You know, he will be one of the best pitchers in the National League for a while. Next up is Jerry Koosman, and now the Mets are probably going to have a log jam they got to figure out. Too many guys, which is a good thing. It means you can make some trades and get some value in return. Jerry Koosman, I set it up, you know, and I was a little, you know, I was really sick to pause that game we played. Because I knew by the time I turned the thing off and I turned the camera thing on, I had to wait a little bit, all the momentum would be gone. Had I just played the entire game, I'm almost thinking Koosman would have thrown the perfect game, or at least a no-hitter, and the Mets would have won. But I didn't do that. I flipped on the cameras for YouTube, and of course, Mets lost that momentum they had. Koosman lost the perfect game, and the rest is history, as we like to say. 73, there's the stats, 284, 5.8 whip. Yeah, he's a Met all the way through 78. And he had a nice year with the Twins. He had a good year way down here with the Phillies at age 41. Also with the White Sox. So, yeah, Koosman's got a lot of juice left in his tank. He'll be a Met, of course. So, Seaver, Koosman, Harrelson is your priority. I'm going to take Milner at the 4. Don Hahn will probably be offered in a trade. No one's going to want him. He'll end up being on waivers, is what will practically happen. Next up is Harry Parker's 1973 card, which you really like. Try to get him in the rotation. I think I had him in the rotation once. But he often got, because the Mets are the Mets, and they have so much pitching, he often got kicked into the bullpen. So here's the 73 card. 38 games, 9 starts. 5 saves. So you can see, back end or start, I made him a long man with this great card with a 119 ERA. We'll have a card in 74 for the Mets. We can double check that availability by going to the Met roster sheet of 74. And it exists. Again, they have no practical room for him. But this guy is good enough to be a keeper. He's got a 3.92 ERA. Again, it's not going to happen. They're going to dangle him in a trade. And no one's going to want him. Or they'll just wait and say, why would we trade for Harry Parker when you're going to have to put him on waivers, we can get him for free? And Mac Scarce, I always call him Scarce. I don't know how it was pronounced. He is going to be scarce, as in probably not in the league anymore. Again, for the short term, he helps the Mets out in the McGraw trade with this 2.42 ERA. In 74, I think he gets waivers for the Phillies, but he's not very good. Let's go see if we can get him waivers for the Phillies in 74. Yep, he's there. We could give him. Let's make him a keeper, and again, because I'm only saying let's make him a keeper because he throws the ball with his left hand. So if he's got an opportunistic split, if he's simply better against lefties and righties, somebody's going to pick him up in the draft or undrafted free agency because there's a shortage of left-handed pitchers. So the Mets can certainly keep Scarce, Parker, and Hahn on the keeper list until we get closer and closer to the draft. They'll keep working the phones, when nobody calls, they'll go on waivers. But right now, the Mets want to keep 7 players, and that's great. I mean, the Mets were, you saw how great they were. I think they overachieved, and I really liked Soleta and Harmon and Lacey, of course, Seaver, Kuzma, and Matlack. I like this Met team. I think they can come back and do what they did again. We'll have to swap out some parts. Division's going to get a lot harder. Phillies are going to get better. Braves will probably get worse. So, Mets should still be there competing for a division. We can go plug in the math. We have now eliminated 26 teams. And now we're really inflated with keepers. 16 guys want to be kept by teams and they can't be. So when those messages are left and nobody calls you back, those 16 keepers will just go on the waiver list. And then the 4 worst waivered players will move into the retirement list. As long as we have a deficit in retire, we're good. If we exceeded the quantity of retired players in any year, we would have a shortage of keeper or waivered players, which would not be good. I'd have to amend the rules a bit to create keepers and waivers. But the fact that I can move reasonably talented players onto retirement even though they continue their baseball career is a good thing. That creates roster flexibility for the draft. 26 teams down, just 6 teams left in the league. And thank you for checking out this analysis eliminating the New York Mets. We'll see you next time.